On today's episode, we are remembering Red Moon. JANUS Redmoon left a legacy, and we are here to share with you his words, his wisdom, and the words of loving friends.
Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to Stay Sparked. I'm Betsy FINKLEHOO, the creator of the Power Affirmation Journal and Somatic Bodyworker.
I am John Halcyon Stin, the host of the Hug Nation YouTube channel and the Pink Path Personal Growth Program.
We always love starting with gratitude, and today we have a shared gratitude for our former co-host and Sparky, JANUS Redmoon.
Yeah.
So grateful. And that is what our episode is all about today. This beautiful human that has been part of our Stay Spark journey and also part of our personal lives for many, many, many years. And we are so grateful for this platform to get to share the inspiration that he has left behind as he is transcended this body and left this earthly realm. So many beautiful treasures. And that's what we're here to share about today.
It's such a, I think, important awareness to recognize that we are always putting our ripples into the world. And those ripples affect the people we touch. And then the people that those people touch are influenced by our ripples. And I've just been so aware lately of how the powerful ripples that our brother put into the world have impacted so many people. And as we continue in our lives, we are in fact ambassadors of his energy, of his vibe. And one of the beautiful things about the technology in the world right now is that those ripples can be amplified dramatically. Ripples and ripples and ripples and ripples. And so it's such an honor to collect and share these ripples, love and energy and wisdom that he shared with us, to continue to echo into the world. And then those people are going to continue to spread that into the world.
Yes. And our hope on this episode that we are here recording in 2025, that the sparks that JANUS Redmoon has shared on these episodes and through all of your beautiful shares may create lots of inspiration for many, many, many years to come. And so what we are here to do today is bring through some sparks that he has shared in previous recordings. So we're going to get to hear his voice here today. We are also going to welcome the voices of the people that he has touched in a very beautiful and deep way, as a way to celebrate his legacy and to keep coming back to the magic that is JANUS Redmoon. And we are so grateful to get to share this episode with JANUS's son, with the hope and intention that this will give you, Rumi, an opportunity to get to know your dad on a much deeper level through his wisdom and the gifts that he has shared with the world. We love you, Rumi.
Dada.
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 We say, I love you, Dada. So enjoy this journey of listening to JANUS and all of his beloveds sharing with you today.
I was adopted at a very early age. Well, that's just a few days old, frankly. And they didn't tell us we were adopted until my sister and I, we were both adopted. They didn't tell us until we were 11. But I would be at family functions, Thanksgiving or Christmas, and I would look around at everybody. And our family dynamic was a little odd. All the men were African-American, were Black, and all the women were German. So that's what I saw growing up as far as adults. And all the kids were like these mixed nuts like me. So I looked like I was related to everybody. But I remember at a very early age looking around and like, something's not right. Something doesn't seem, something's not right. Something's not happening here. And just having that feeling and then being told at 11, like, oh, by the way, you are adopted. I grew up in Tacoma, just Washington State, just south of Seattle. Spent my formative years there and ended up moving to Los Angeles. I went to a USC film school and ended up moving there in 1990 when I was 22, I believe. And so I was there in LA. I only really lasted in school for about a year. But ended up living in LA for 17 years. And most of that time I was in the health and fitness industry as a fitness trainer, and spent a few years as a competitive bodybuilder, natural bodybuilder. So spending 6-7 hours in the gym every day, working out twice a day, and like living that lifestyle. And it's one of those things, you do anything long enough, you tend to burn out on it. So after 17 years and having discovered Burning Man at the tail end of that, Los Angeles is one of those towns that has a expiration date that kind of sneaks up on you. And so you love it on Monday and you wake up on Tuesday like, oh my God, what am I doing? So then I moved briefly to the Bay Area. I flirted with the East Bay for about 6 months, and it never quite took. I always felt like I was visiting and not living there. And so then I reached out to some San Diego friends I had made through the festival scene, through various, San Diego DCOM and Burning Man itself and such, and really solid connections and solid people, you among them, in San Diego. And I reached out to a handful of people and was like, well, I'm thinking about moving to San Diego, but I had no job. I had no place to live. So I would need a little bit of, need to get by with a little help from my friends. If you guys could assist with the landing in San Diego. And everyone I reached out to reached back and said, yes, by all means, with work opportunities and places to live and so on and so forth. So it was a very welcoming atmosphere in San Diego. And that was almost 13 years ago. So I'm here now still, and loving it, living the San Diego dream. It's been good.
This is Katarina. Janus was a mystic. At the very core, he was a very practical mystic. I always appreciated his grounded approach to life, to spirituality, to community. He had that earth energy down as a Capricorn, while always cultivating his mystical essence. I remember so many conversations about metaphysical aspects of life, ancient Egyptian secret practices. We talked aliens, Pleiadians, Arcturians. We talked about his encounters with those beings and so much more. I loved the way that he embodied his spirituality. He never claimed to be perfect. He always aimed to be authentic through and through. And I respected that and admired that in him. So yes, Janus was a mystic. And when he was given his name, his new name, JANUS Redmoon, each part of that name was representing a lineage that he was connecting, that he was channeling that lineage in his own unique way through his essence, through his presence, and through his embodied wisdom. That's how I'm going to remember Janus, as a practical mystic.
We're the only ones we have any control over. So like realizing that and really taking that away from the ceremony and out into the world and integrating that, that newfound perspective, it's important to kind of realize, that we're the ones that we're responsible for our own experience. And then you get to a point where you realize that a main realization is that we're never going to arrive at this place, this destination of being perfectly healed, where we're like this perfectly awesome, we got it all figured out. We're never going to get to that place. So you learn to be like, okay, so this is who I am. How do I navigate who I am in this world? And realizing that, the only thing that really needs to be healed is the belief that we are not already whole.
This is Ishmael. Janus was a primary catalyst in my life. He was somebody who recognized the quality of the work that we were all doing together. And when he recognized something that he thought was important, he had a natural desire to share it with the people that he loved. And he did that in my world, introducing me to people that still to this day are the primary people that have made major influence in my life and the lives of people around me. Janus, thank you for being willing to love. Thank you for wanting to share your love. Thank you for how doing that has changed my life and the lives of so many people around us. Thank you for your expansions. Thank you for your contractions. Thank you for your willingness. Thank you when you weren't willing. And this most especially thank you for your love for me and your recognition of me. It helped me to understand and recognize myself. My life is better because you are in it, and I love you.
If we're gonna go out and be social, that the art of listening is something we want to cultivate, and we want to be able to show up for our friends, and we want to be able to show up for strangers as well. So it's important that if we're going to put ourselves out in the world, that we're able to not only like receive from the world, but also to offer to the world, to the people that we're encountering, and that is done in the realm of presence, like being present with somebody and really like. I'm not going to ask somebody how their day was unless I'm fully prepared and able to hear the answer, no matter what that answer is, and then respond accordingly. So it's important to kind of do a little self-check when we're leaving the house and kind of knowing what it is we're open to, what it is we're up for, what it is we're capable of, and then being able to show up for friends and strangers in a way that is, like Halcyon is saying, empowering and able to kind of receive and be a cheerleader for whatever it is they're up for or whatever they're up to, and to also, even if they're not really feeling that great, at least let them know that they've been heard, and that, which is really most of what everybody is looking for at any given moment.
This is Rebecca Mesritz. Janus, you magnificent mythical man. You, as Big D, introduced Yona and I on the dance floor at that first Fuente so many years ago now. When we met, it felt like I had already known you for ages. We visit each other in dreams many times, and one of those dreams inspired a whole body of created work for me, which became my master's thesis. The subject of that body of work was how we can sometimes learn something new from our dreams. And you had been a guide for me in that dream that I had. I was honored you wanted one of the pieces from that show, which then became a ceremonial vest for you. Knowing you, I'm sure you traveled pretty far in it. Your complexity is not lost on me. Light and shadow are both teachers. Hard-won wisdom. Our most recent conversation was a clarifying one. Dignity, respect, and maturity prevailed, and I was glad for it. How I wish we could have had one more night to connect and play and ride the waves of conversation on the very nature of truth. I guess that must wait for now, till we dance again on the other side. Perhaps you are there already, dancing with Seda. Keep a light on for us until we can join you, my friend. Bless your life. Bless your journey. Thank you for all your teaching. I love you.
In 2006, a couple of friends and I formed a camp that turned out to be pretty big, and the RLD days, and there was
Red light district.
yeah. And there was a question as to like, who do we invite? Because we want to, because we want to have the cool kids there. And then I was like, no, we invite everybody. We're all the cool kids. Everybody gets to be the cool kid this year. And we're gonna have the awesome camp. And it was a fantastic camp with turned out to be like 120 people, and a lot of people were there and part of this camp who would not have found themselves in the same group of people, a group of people. But it turned out to be amazing. It was just so diverse and so like authentic. Everybody was coming with their authentic selves, and that was like honored and respected. It really felt like a strong sense of community. Like we were all there for each other for that entire time, and that was a lesson for me. Like, no, everybody can provide something. Everybody can offer something.
This is John. One of the deepest ways I remember his impact is in the gentle, loving way that he helped people with race relations and evolving attitudes about privilege and cultural differences. And when George Floyd happened, I reached out and said, would you be up for doing a Facebook Live and talking about this thing that is so delicate? And he was absolutely enthusiastically in and did what he does so well, which is kind of holding people's feet to the fire with love so that you can hear it, so you don't get defensive. He was so understated and so powerful and changed so many people's awareness in the world. So here's him giving a little insight into why the Burning Man community could do a little better.
Talking to a number of my friends, people of color, Black people who have gone to Burning Man, race wasn't really much of a factor in my experience, I'm happy to say, until I brought it up. Meaning that, and this is true for the, not only on the playa, but also like outside, off the playa, but still within the community. My race doesn't really come up as a factor until I would bring it up in regards to being concerned with issues of race in the world at large. And then discovering that for a large number of people, Burning Man environment, the culture is a bit of escapism. It's a bit of an escape from these real world kind of stuff where I don't have to think about that. I don't have to worry about all the myriad issues that are out in the world. The idea of Burning Man kind of presents itself as an incubator for ideas to bring back into the world to elicit change. A lot of people are there for the party. A lot of people are there for, all the, the sparkles and all that. That is certainly there to get. But I found that when I would bring it up, whether it was online or in person at a gathering or whatever, and people just didn't want to hear about it. I would bring up issues of diversity or issues of race or such, and people would literally be like, hold that thought for a second, and turn around and run, not walk, run to the opposite side of the party. I just watched them just sprint away from me as I'm standing there like mid-sentence. I kind of realized, and that's where I became a little bit disillusioned from the culture. Not all of it, but a large part of it, just because realizing that there was a desired separation between the two worlds, which is kind of dangerous actually, because there's a lot of people in one culture where some aspect of you see it a lot, whether it's in the Tantra community, the Burning Man community, the plant medicine community. It's all good in their little bubble, but when they have to open that up to being like, okay, so we're gonna try to do or affect some change in the real world. And a lot of people in all these communities are simply not interested, haven't been interested in it. And so, yeah, it's tough. It certainly doesn't, not to implicate everyone in all these cultures, but it's a significant enough number. It's kind of, disillusioning unless you are happy to reside within that bubble and stay there, then that works for you. But it's like, the guy eating steak in the Matrix movie. It's like, I know this isn't real, but it's really good. And if I could just stay in here, that'd be fine. I'm not particularly interested in, the struggle that's happening out there. And I'm happy to plug me back in. And, these people, it's like, we talk about woke culture. Like you go to any of these cultures, most of these people would consider themselves conscious or woke or whatever, but they don't want to be woke to, some real world stuff. They might even talk about it, but when confronted with actually doing something about it or standing up, for other people, they lack the courage of their convictions.
I'm Michael Ravenwood, and I always remember Janus as a really grounding and calming presence whenever I had the chance to hang out with him. And, one thing in particular that I remember was a time when I was just sharing some things that were going on in my life. And I was talking about how I was handling some, kind of challenging family affairs and, business stuff had come up and whatever. I just, shared it in a certain way. And he's like, "Hey, I want to pause you, man, for a second. And I want to remind you of, how much that all is. Like you're talking about it right now as if it's just like the thing that's happening for you. But really, like you should take a moment and just really let it sink in how much you're handling right now and really like appreciate yourself for doing all that for your family." And, and he just kind of like paused me for a moment uh, so as to give me presence to what was going on. And I just remember thinking, wow, I think he's right. I think I'm just kind of glossing over all this stuff. And I really need to kind of pause and allow it to sink in, appreciate how much is going on and maybe take a break for a minute. And I was really grateful to him for that.
It's Tigger. There was a time when I needed a gig, and he had a gig, vouched for me, and I got the job. My work site overlooked the driveway, so I'd often see Janus roll up in his white Audi two-seater. I always got a kick out of seeing my super tall homie roll up in that tiny little convertible, dreadlocks to the breeze. Now at this job, a group of us sat around a big table, working with our hands and chit-chatting about every topic imaginable. One day we're talking about manifesting and vision boarding, and Janus walks in. And we ask him whether or not he thinks vision boarding works. He says, and I'm paraphrasing, "Be careful with vision boarding because it's great for helping you get clear on what you want. But the moment you put something up on the wall as a vision for the future, it's like you're telling the universe that you know you can't have it now. And that's not necessarily true. Take my car. I had it up on my vision board and I remember looking at that thing going, wait a minute, what do I need to do to make this happen? I looked on the internet and within minutes I'd found one just like it. Got down to the dealership and within a matter of days, that car went from being on my vision board to sitting in my driveway. So yeah, the vision board helped me quote unquote manifest the car, but I got the car because I took action and I made it happen. He made it happen. Thank you, Janus.
If you're going to ask for people's opinion, what do you think about this logo? What do you think about this idea? You are going to get positive and negative feedback. So what are you going to do with that? Just do your thing and whoever resonates with that will resonate with that. So maybe a little less seeking of other people's opinions and more just stick to you have this idea, this inspiration for a reason. So, follow that. But then also we do want some feedback. We do want to and a lot of times, we're excited about stuff. So we want to share that excitement with our friends or our coworkers or family or whatever. So yeah. So when somebody shares their stuff with us, for me, it feels good to I don't want to be a dream squasher. I'm not here to squash people's dreams. So, which could be a challenge when somebody comes up with an idea or what do you think about this? That really sounds like, wow, I don't know about that. Instead of being like, I don't know about that. I'm like, okay, so what's exciting you to do that? Where's the inspiration from for that? What's the juice behind it?
Hi, my name is Cinnabuns, aka Ms. Buns, as Janus always called me. I was blessed to know Janus Osiris Redmoon since 2009 when we met at Burning Man, of course. Over the years, his loving friendship provided me and my children with the experience of a healthy, grounded, and wise masculine energy, something that is very rare and we will cherish forever. Janus never really felt like he was of this world. He lived life on his own terms with pizzazz, loyalty, and charm. For us, he was someone I could lean on to help navigate this wild little thing called life. With reverence for honesty and integrity, he helped me navigate some of my darkest days. He always showed up, meant what he said, and never missed a chance to say something deeply profound. When he became a father, I got to see his heart expand beyond his wildest imagination. Thank you, Janus, for loving me. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for showing us what it feels like to have unconditional support. I miss you deeply, and I vow to live each day to the best of my ability in a way that would make you proud to call me your friend. Through acts of kindness, being in my integrity, listening to my heart wisdom, and asking myself, what would Janus do?
We're not just cruising along. We were either trending up or we were trending down. So having some awareness of that and being like, okay, I'm moving one way or the other. What do I want? I want to move up. So what am I going to do to kind of, instead of just assuming that's going to happen on its own, like really taking the reins. Okay, I'm going to change. How am I going to change? What is this is all my whole experience, like looking around, this is all temporary. So what can I do to change this in a direction that I feel that I'm going to feel good about, that is going to allow me to offer my gifts to the world, that is going to be to everyone's highest benefit, including my own. And, you know, taking the time to taking it slow and realizing like, okay, so how do I go about this? And integrating all my past experiences into the present moment and using that as a guide to get me to where I want to be. But what brings us joy throughout the day? Because a joyful person is definitely fun to be around. It's definitely like you're gonna enjoy the world, see the world, experience the world in a much better way when you are coming from a place of joy. I just heard something recently that said the meaning of life, very simple in 5 words, the meaning of life is to enjoy the passage of time. That is it. And that can be connected to, you know, what's my purpose? What is my meaning? Say, to enjoy the passage of time. How do I do that?
This is Angelina Arya. Some of my fondest memories are walking in nature at mission trails and just talking about Egypt and the time that you came with me to buy my Prius. Thank you for being there for me. And just the first day we met on New Year's Eve back in LA at that boxing ring in 2006. I trust that you are navigating the afterlife brilliantly. I see you doing it. I'm just sending you big love, brother. And I know one day we will meet again. Much love.
I might have some negative stuff going on in my life, and I may or may not share that with you, but I'm definitely going to share with you guys like what's awesome in my life and just kind of speak that out. And that's definitely puts the good stuff out there and my appreciation and gratitude for that good stuff. Gratitude is one of those things like you do it because it feels good, but the fringe benefit is that gratitude gives you more things to be grateful for. The more gratitude you express, the more you have to be grateful for. It's like I've seen way too many instances of this for it to be so easily dismissed and just, oh, that's some hippie woo stuff. Like, no.
This is Cynthia, aka Sin. So I met Janus years and years and years ago when he was known as Big D. I remember he worked at Trader Joe's, and I used to love going in there just to run into him and have a quick chat. He was always just such a warm, welcoming presence. And so I moved out of San Diego, moved back 4 years later, and then I knew him as Janus. And again, he was just as warm and welcoming as I remembered him. I just would love to run into him at parties and have conversations. He was a really good person to talk to. I love getting to know him. And I remember there's this one time he saw that I was hanging out with a person that, you know, I didn't know at the time had a bad reputation. And he reached out to me and said like, hey, you could do whatever you want, but I care about you. And, you know, I don't want anything bad to happen to you. So just be careful. And I just felt like that was such a sweet big brother thing to do, that he really, truly did care. And I would never forget that. And I will never forget him. He's just who's a very kind, warm, welcoming person. And I miss him already. So he's always going to have a special place in my heart.
This is Lily. Janus was like a big, fierce protector, brother in my life, and I am just so grateful for all the ways he's shown up for me over the 10-ish years that I knew him. One moment in particular I'm remembering is I needed to buy a van, and I wanted to go kind of traveling around California looking for my new home outside of Los Angeles, and he offered to look for a van for me in San Diego and go and check it out because I had really no idea or car experience. So he did, and he went the extra mile. He found a great van, and he also built out a bed platform in it so that I could have storage underneath and have a comfy bed on top. And that was just one of the ways that he would go out of his way as a brother, as a friend, as an ally. And another moment I'm remembering is after a particularly terrible breakup that I had. He just was there. He came to visit me. He, listened to me. He held me when I cried. He was a really good brother. I love you, Janus, and I'm so happy that you are flying free. And I know that you're protecting me and your friends, your beloved, your son from the ether realms. We love you.
I've always found that if I'm kind of stuck in my own stuff and I'm feeling like a sense of purposelessness, or I'm not, if I feel like I'm just on a hamster wheel, I will take it upon myself to be of service in some way. Like, okay, so table my stuff, help somebody out over here. And that could be like helping a friend move, or working at working at a meal train, or serving food at the local whatever. But there's definitely a sense of joy, a sense of accomplishment, a sense like, all right, isn't like, not necessarily like I fulfill an obligation, but it's just like, I'm doing some good stuff here. All right, that's fine. It's like the whole like idea is that is it enough? It's like, whatever. I did some good stuff today. I can feel good about that.
This is Shannon, Jonas's last partner and the mother of the beautiful baby boy we had together, our little Rumi Hunter, Red Moon. And I want to say how Janus made me laugh like no other person has ever made me laugh. And consistently. I would have just nights and nights in a row. It was kind of our ritual, our nightly ritual, where he would just have me in such insane stitches that my stomach was seizing up and I could barely breathe, and I was laughing and crying so hard. It was magical and such a great way to get all of the endorphins and serotonin and yumminess through to get me into a sleepy state. It was such a great way to be sent off every night. Yeah, it was kind of uncanny how he just knew exactly what to say and how to say it. That would get me laughing so hard. And I'm so grateful to him for all those nights of laughter and all those days of laughter. Yeah, even our neighbor said that he loved how often he heard laughter coming from our house. So, and of course, I will love Janus forever for just who he was and the amazing gift giver he was, and that he gave me the most incredible gift of our son. That is the one thing I wanted more than anything in this life, was to be a mother. And he gave me that gift.
One thing my partner and I are both stoked about is just the community that he has been born into, like with you guys, and like we're part of a fantastic community of friends and family, as we call it, where I'm just so stoked that he's going to meet so many awesome people from so many different walks of life and different perspectives, and he's going to be surrounded by these aunts and uncles who are just going to love him up and show him all these fantastic ways of being in the world. He's going to have some fantastic models to model, to some fantastic people to do modeling, and I give thanks for that every day.
This is Raven. My first memory of meeting Janus was at a gathering surrounded by community. He was so welcoming, so kind. He had this way of making you feel like you belonged, like you were already part of the circle. And that never changed. In the years I knew him, he was always that way with me. Warm, inviting, accepting, the kind of friend who wanted everyone to feel included. And then there were our deep drop-ins on life, on art, on love, those conversations, his presence, his wisdom. I hold them close. I am forever grateful for his friendship.
We have to let go of the idea that we are human beings and that we are humans becoming, that we are always in this state of, evolution and growth and decline and decay. Like, these things are always happening. Every morning is another opportunity. Every sunrise is another opportunity to begin again, to begin anew. So it's not that we have to constantly be improving or constantly be growing. It's, that's kind of a fringe benefit of the evolution. As long as we feel like we are living into our truth, living into what's feeling authentic to us in this moment today. I think that's the idea. That's the point.
This is Betsy. I want to share a very special bonding experience we had at Damanhur in Italy at a sacred site called the Temples of Humankind. Janus was a guide for me in my spiritual development as I was young and discovering the realms of mysticism and the unseen ways, which he seemed to just carry naturally. And we had this opportunity to sleep inside a beautiful temple space called the Hall of Mirrors. And that experience bonded us as we did deep meditations and rituals as a group that helped us to remember our infinite nature. And so, with the privilege of many, many, many years later, getting to sit at his bedside just a couple of days before his passing, we recalled those moments and looked into each other's eyes and remembered our infinite nature. As I am deeply saddened by his loss, I also know deeply that he is continuing on the journey in the formless space. And so, in celebration of this mystical being that is Janus, I am so grateful, so thankful for the gift that he has given to me in his life and also in his passing. You are infinite, Janus. Thank you for your magical existence. We love you.
This is Eliza Moon. My friend Janus is an incredible being that touched me in the masses,
like so many people he's touched. And I've been friends with Janus for 16 years. We met in Guadalupe Canyon at the hot springs. And I just remember him talking to me, and it felt like it was like soul recognition. Like we've known each other for lifetimes. And I remember him taking me to my performance with the Shimmy Sisters at Portugalia. And he took me there, and we bonded over our past. Like we're both adopted. And I feel like there and after, I feel like he's been like my brother, like protecting. Like we're definitely feel like soul family. And yeah, he's watched me be pregnant and was, the first person to visit my son when he was a baby, just born. Yeah, it's been sweet. He's been considerate and thoughtful and fun and playful. And he always honored me. Like, he'd always pick me up and we'd go on hikes. And he would take me and my son to the beach or the park. And he introduced me to so many people. Like, he took me to parties. I just feel like the impact he left for me is like, I belong. Like, I feel like he loved me unconditionally. Like, nothing I can do would spray him from not loving me. And I really love that he was able to represent unconditional loving, and that he was able to show up for me and my son in a huge way. And he's so funny. So he was like playful and fun, and I miss him dearly. But I feel like he's with me right now. I really feel his presence, and I want to continue to feel his presence and his insight, because he definitely helped me throughout my life. When I was struggling, he was there with me. So I love you, Janus. You're legendary.
But it's important to remember that there are very few destinations in life. Most of it is a journey, and acknowledging, like, when you have these moments of like insecurity, where where you're viewed as like, oh my gosh, you're so together. It's like, oh, you should have seen me like 2 hours ago. But it's important when we get to that place, and it's true for how we express ourselves, and it's true for our experience in life. Like, if we're okay, this is my pink phase. This is not the destination. This is just where I'm at right now. And when we're feeling those bouts of insecurity, and like, maybe even like moments of like despair, it's like, okay, this is where I'm at right now. Work through it, and I'm not going to wallow it, and I'm not going to plant my flag here. This is just where I'm at right now. I am always moving. I can see where I'm moving next, and then that allows for us to feel it, to be in it, and then to kind of come out of it with a different perspective.
Ryan Sweeney here, just reflecting upon the number of years that I've known Janus and kind of who he was for me. So it was around 2013 when I met Suzanne Angelo. We went on our first date, and that started a chapter that will forever shape and change my life. In the first time that I went back to her house, he was living there. He was her roommate. And I just remember, his presence. He's got quite the powerful presence, yet with a gentle, kind, endearing, loving way of being about him. That was just really nice to be around. Over the years, the various community gatherings, festivals, house parties, events of all types, dinners, just get-togethers, we always carved out some time to talk about the deeper things, and just always really appreciated his ability to listen and carry a conversation about the bigger things in life. And towards these later years, especially about fatherhood and everything that goes into the wonders of raising a human and being that human's guide and sharing the wisdom. Godspeed, brother. I love you. You'll always be a part of me.
Janus, brother, Sparky, we love you so much. You are always remembered. You are infinitely woven into our hearts and souls. And even though you are no longer in your body, you are deeply with us in spirit.
I feel you here with a big old smile, taking it in. It is such a privilege to have crossed paths and to have been made a better man because of you. The world is better because of you. May we let your ripples continue flowing.
We came from a place where everything is perfect, and we are going back to a place where everything is perfect. But right now, while we're here, everything is not perfect, and that's what we kind of signed up for. We signed up for the human experience, which is, if nothing else, messy. And it has a lot of ups and downs. It has the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, and all the points in between. And we are here for all of that. We are here to experience it. This is kind of what I signed up for. It's like I really wanted to be here. And having this experience of life in this body with these people in my life. Yeah, I signed up for this. Okay. All right. Be in it. Love it.
In addition to the clips that we're sharing here today, you can always visit the Remembering Red Moon YouTube channel for a collection of his wisdom and wit.
Stay spark, friends.